Hey there. Today's training is about expanding time, and I created this in response to your feedback on what gets in the way of you connecting with spirit. And I find that this is something that gets in the way of not only connecting with spirit, but a lot of things. It gets in the way of our goals, it gets in the way of our completing things, it gets in the way of a lot of things. So I'm going to teach you how to expand time for yourself in this training. And I first want to start off by saying that we talk about time often. We say things like, there's not enough time, time isn't on my side, there's time's a wasting, or we're running out of time, we're stealing time. We have all of these phrases, all of these many opinions, beliefs, and judgments about time. And each time we engage in these many beliefs and judgments and perceptions and sayings about time, we are feeding into the idea, the concept, the belief that there's not enough time. And every time we feed into a belief, we make it more real. We say, yeah, I'm on board with this. And then we are feeding what it is that we actually don't want. So first things first with expanding time. And that's to pay attention to the way you speak about time. Pay attention to the way you talk about time. Also to how you think about time. But the way you talk about it, when you speak something, you breathe it into reality, you breathe it out of your body, and the power of the word is potent. So pay attention to how you're speaking about time, because it affects the relationship that you have with it, which then affects the experience that you have with it. Just like the way that we refer to money and how we speak about money is directly connected to how we flow with or against money. But that's another training. So I want you to start noticing when you say these phrases, there's not enough time, time's not on my side, I'm running out of time, I'm running against time, I'm running against the clock. There's even just a speeding up that I have when I'm thinking about these phrases. So pay attention to them, because using those phrases are bleeding into your experience of time, and you want to change that. To experience anything differently, we need to look, and we need to talk, and we need to perceive things different. And you're capable of doing that. There's no big, huge secret around it. It's really about having the awareness and then choosing to do it differently. In shamanic practice, it's about creating a relationship with the spirits. And it's also about, shamanic practice is also about changing our point of view or our perspective, so that we can create an opportunity for a new perspective, which creates an opportunity for healing. We do that for us, we do that for the planet, and it's a change of perception that happens that allows healing to occur, it allows something different to occur. A shaman doesn't heal on the same level of consciousness, or a shaman doesn't do healing work in the same level of consciousness where this exists. And by this I mean there's not enough time, time's not on my side. That's a level of consciousness that is not engaged in when doing healing work. So a shaman often operates from the perspective of no time, or expanded time, or being on a time schedule, schedule's not even the right word, experiencing time in a cycle or a circle, more cyclical. So the consciousness that's tapped into or utilized when a shaman does healing work is not the same as the consciousness of the fear and the worry about time. So shamans have a different relationship with time. You don't have to be a shaman to create a different relationship with time. You also can create a different relationship with time, and I'm going to teach you how to do that right here in this training. If you're already familiar with this material, this is going to bump it up for you and be a really good reminder. And if you're not familiar with this material, come back to it a couple times, because you're going to want to absorb it so that you can fully embrace it and use it so that you are changing your relationship, expanding time for yourself. So the first thing is to realize that time is a man-made construct. It's man-made. We made the clocks. We made the decision to run our lives based on this time. It's causing stress, and what would it be like if that stress were gone? If you did not have that stress of racing against the clock all the time? What if it were gone? Or what if it were reduced by, let's say, 70%? Think about what your life would look like if you had a 70% reduction in your experience of having not enough time. I can tell you, you'd have more energy, your nervous system would reset itself, you would actually get more done, because the time that it takes to worry about time actually creates less time. And you'd probably be more pleasant to be around, and you would be able to do what your soul wants to do, because space would be freed up for that. So those are all reasons why you should consider expanding time and changing your relationship to it. You know, the natural turning of the seasons, the cycles of the seasons, they have their own rhythms. And there's not a rushed, hurry up and make it happen to the seasons. They flow, and we wait for them. The seasons, we want to rush them. We want summer to come faster. We want the spring to spring quicker, but we wait for them. Time moves in a cycle, right? And there's no deadlines. The trees are not sitting around getting pissed off that the ground is still frozen this time of year. They're all in a relationship with one another. And time exists this way, the way that we create it. The time exists the way we create it, because we created it that way. Nature doesn't work that way. And we want to move more into flow, more into being in the cycles and the circles than to being into the hard edges of the time, the box that we've been put in. So if we create it, if we create this time thing, then we can recognize, well, if we created it, we know it's a construct. And if it's a construct, we can change our relationship to that construct. And when we change our relationship to that construct, then other people have the opportunity to change, to create a different relationship with the construct. So, how exactly is that done? How is it done? Well, if you know me, you know that I like to keep it simple, and I'm a huge fan of easy. So, I'm going to share with you what you can do in the moment to expand time. I'm going to share with you what you can do in the dream time, or how you can utilize the dream time to expand time. And then I'm going to give you examples of how you can work with your emotions, your mindset, and your physical being to expand time. First things first, though, you need to decide that you want to do this. You need to claim that you want to change your relationship to time, that you don't want to do it the same way that you always did. And you need to withdraw permission from that rat race that you've been running. withdraw permission from that and bring your focus back to the real truth that you create what happens right here. This right here is all mine. I do not have a choice about what other people are doing in the world. There's a lot of terrible things happening. There's a lot of racial injustice. There's a lot of. I don't make a choice about what other people are doing. I get to choose for myself how I respond, how I look at my place in the bigger picture of the injustices, and I do that. But when it comes to creating my own reality, creating my mindset and my body so that I am doing what I want to be doing, that's an inside job. That's me. So I want you to realize that you are the boss of you. You create your reality. You create how you're going to think. You create how you're going to respond. And you create how you're going to change the things that aren't working. It's up to you. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So decide that first, that you want to change your relationship with time. And in that, withdraw permission to keep running the race. You'll notice a shift when you do that. So once you do that, you remind yourself it's your show. This is your show that you're running. You run the show. You pull the plug on what doesn't work. Then from there, in the moment, so that's overall. Do that overall. And make that shift and that adjustment in your thinking and in your intentions. Okay, great, Bridge. Then what do we do next? So you've done that. You've made a decision to pull the plug on the rat race, right? So then in the moment, here's what you do. When you find yourself racing against time, rushing around, running to your car, rushing to make breakfast for the kids, realize you're rushing. Remember, this is my show. I don't have to do it this way. Stop, take a breath, and make the decision in that moment to slow it down. And you may be going at like 90 miles an hour, and that breath that you take brings you down to 80. That's progress. You may be going 90 miles an hour, and tomorrow that breath brings you down to 70. Or you might find that you go right from 90 to 20. Whatever it is, it's progress when you take a breath and you slow down. So you've recognized that you're in the race, you're running around, you decide to slow down, you take a breath, and you say, okay, this is my show. I'm going to expand time. I'm expanding time. I'm slowing things down, and I'm expanding time. Everything will get done in alignment with how it needs to get done. I've got this, and I'll figure it out. But right now, in this moment, I'm slowing it down and expanding time. And then what you do is your next steps that you take them slower. You walk slower. You move slower. You talk slower. You breathe slower. And that right there disengages you from the there's not enough time, rush, rush, rush mindset and experience. That's what you can do overall, and each time you find yourself running around like crazy. I do this frequently. I remember I never share with you things that I don't do, and I teach them because they work. I'll be running around doing the thing, feeling like I'm overwhelmed and I don't have enough time, and then I realize, oh, wait, I'm doing this. And right in the moment, as soon as it happens, I stop, I take a breath, because 60 seconds is really not going to make or break anything. I just think that it is. That's my perception. And I say, my show. I run this show. I get to decide how I'm going to respond. And then I start moving slower, and I shift from the reality of not having enough time to it all being in perfect timing, because I decided it. So that's what you can do on the regular. You can also engage your you can engage the energy that's available to you in the dream time. I've talked about working with your dreams before, if you haven't seen some of those. Or I've talked about working not specifically with your dreams, but in the space of the dream time overnight when your conscious mind is quiet. I've talked about that before. You can use what I have shared there, here. And if you're not familiar with it, here's what you do. Before you go to bed, you ask your spirit helpers or your allies to help you to stretch your understanding of time. And you do it in a way where you thank them ahead of time. You're getting ready to go to sleep. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, allies, for helping to stretch my understanding of time. I'm going to wake up refreshed, and I'm going to wake up feeling like there's plenty of time. You're programming your subconscious mind and your being to change your relationship with time. And you're offering gratitude to the spirits for helping you. That right there is a win-win. All you need to do is just do it. And you will engage all of you and the allies. And then when you wake up, begin your day breathing and saying, time is expanded in all that I do. And you set your day, you set the mark to begin that way. Enter your day mindfully. And then when your rushing stuff comes up, slow it down and go back to what I just shared a moment ago about expanding time. Okay, so you've got that. Next, I want to talk a little bit about your emotional space, your mindset, and what you can do physically to start changing the response that you have, in your cells, the information and the memory in your cells to be more compatible with expanding time. So emotionally, you have a response to there's not enough time. You think that thought creates anxiety, and then you're off. You're responding to the anxiety that you have. So I want you to slow yourself down when you're having the anxiety of there's not enough time, and recognize, okay, right now my emotions are controlling me. I need to respond instead of react. This is coming from a place of anxiety. Slow it down, practice some breathing, and don't allow your emotional states to get the best of you, because emotions exist, but they don't rule us. They're not facts. There's a reason why I suggest that everybody that I work with, and if you're new to me, you may not have heard this yet, but I suggest that everybody carves out, opens up 10 minutes a day to talk with spirit, to sit and meditate, to have quiet time that you claim. When you do that, you'll notice there's less stress in your life, there's more spirit in your life, and you've got more time in your life for you. So 10 minutes a day is going to help you balance your emotions, reduce your stress. 10 minutes might turn into 15. It's okay if it does. Start with 10 minutes a day breathing. So that is a bit about how our emotions affect our ability to engage with time differently. So work there. And then your mindset. A lot of this is mindset and what you choose to plug into. So I want you to stop saying the phrases, there's not enough time, I'm overwhelmed, there's too much to do, I'll never get it done, I'm overwhelmed, running against the clock, I wish there were more time, I don't have enough time. Stop doing that. You're complaining about time, and whenever you complain about time, you are creating more of what you don't want. So take that out of your vocabulary today, right now, and if you catch yourself doing it, stop, because you're slipping back into an old pattern. Instead of the old tapes of there's not enough time, put in a new tape. I create my reality. I run this show. There's plenty of time. That's what I want you to put in place of all that complaining. And remind yourself, I'm expanding time. I'm expanding time. All of that is in your mindset. All of that is in your mindset, in your habits and your patterns, and you can change them pretty easily. Slow it down. slow things down. Make a conscious effort to slow your pace down. Tell yourself, I'm slowing down. And of course, as part of your mindset work, withdraw permission to stay in a place where you are only existing in the rat race of time. Just imagine that your permission has been given from you out to from your heart into the mainstream rat race, from your gut into the mainstream rat race. You give your permission willingly all the time. Yeah, I'm going to prescribe to that reality. Yeah, I'm going to subscribe to that thinking. Sure, here's my subscription. You got it. I'm going to worry. I'm going to have fear. I'm going to do it all. I'm plugging right in. Want you to imagine that you are pulling those cords back, withdrawing permission. I bring my permission and my attention and my energy back to me. That's a mindset shift. That's a practice that you can do all the time. Because there are a lot of things that you do, that we all do, where we engage with a reality that we don't want to be engaging in. So we withdraw permission, bring our cords back. Now physically, what can you do? Practically, what can you do? And this is the last piece I'm going to talk about, to help encourage yourself to expand time. So we know what we need to start saying. We know what we need to do in the moment when we feel like we're rushing and time's against us. What can we do to encourage more time? Make the space in your life for activities that don't require you to look at a clock. Get lost in some cooking or some baking. Get lost in a walk. Get lost in a hobby. Get lost in playing. Don't have your phone near you. Move your phone away. Move timepieces away and give yourself some expanded space to do that. What that will do is it'll give your nervous system a chance to unplug, and it'll give you more experiences that you want. And the more experiences that you have that you want, the more the experiences of the more they grow, right? So get lost in time. You can also do your spirit practices, your meditation with no timepiece. Some days for me, I have like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, small periods of time to meditate. So I'll put a chime on so that I come back and out, so I can do my other things. Sometimes I have a lot of time to play with. And so when I do, I don't set a timer and I just let myself go. So you can engage in your spirit practices with no clock. In addition to that, I want you to seriously consider engaging in a drumming activity, a dancing activity, where there's no sense of time, or you can get lost in your body or in the percussion and in your experience, and you don't have to worry about time. We do this all the time in the journey work. My journey program and my shamanic programs, when I drum for my journeyers, they're not worried about time. They're in their experience, and that's all they need to worry about. So, and that there's a real allowing yourself to drop in to something else and to let spirit guide you when you surrender to the being attached to time. So allow yourself to fully drop into a drumming or some type of spirit experience. All of those things, physically practicing them, will help you to plug more into what you want, which is an expansion of time and the stress reduction that comes with it, and being in command of your reality. Those two things are ultimately what you want, and all of these practices will help you get there. Do some of this work. Allow it to be easy, and you're going to begin to notice less stress and more opportunity. This is how we change time. One by one, person by person. What we do then becomes available for others, and other people can follow. But right now, we're just concerned about ourselves, about you. So try some of these practices and let me know how it goes. Hop on over to the group. Let me know your experience and anything that's come up, because I know that we are so deeply embedded in the cultural expectations. And we're so deeply embedded and intertwined and enmeshed with those realities. Through shamanic practices, we pull our enmeshment back enough so that we can be free. And in the process, that brings some stuff up that we can talk about. So let me know how it goes. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Have a beautiful day.